bad does Boris Johnson need to be before opposition leaders unite to remove him? Just since taking office, Johnson has misled the Queen and unlawfully shut down Parliament. He's threatening to unleash untold chaos on the country by crashing Britain out of the EU. He has removed the party whip from 21 MPs, lost the support of some of his advisers and his own family. He has abused the power of his office, using dangerously divisive language which his own MPs have described as inciting violence. Johnson can't be oblivious to police warnings that the fastest growing terror threat is from the far right. He knows this and uses incendiary language regardless. Yet the leader of the Liberal Democrats is playing politics, refusing to support Jeremy Corbyn as leader of an emergency government. But like it or not, Corbyn is the leader of the opposition. Rationally and obviously, he should lead a caretaker government following a vote of no confidence in the Conservatives. We're running out of time and opposition leaders must focus. Stopping no deal is imperative and backing Corbyn is a necessary step.
You know, Rachel, so many members of the Labour Party don't want Corbyn as a caretaker, PM or anybody else. So why you'd imagine that all the members of the Unity Party would want him either? I mean, it's farcical to me. And how can all those parties that you're talking about form a unity government when there is no unity between them? On Monday, it was a shambles. They all decided that they were going to topple Boris, they were going to stop Brexit, they were going to smash the Tories, and by the end of Monday, it had all fractured and falling apart because they couldn't decide on any policy. They couldn't decide on who they wanted to lead this government of unity. And you know, you criticise Boris Johnson for his use of inflammatory language. Corbyn has a shadow chancellor who is constantly talking about having Tories killed, about lynching them, about killing them. But the inflammatory language that I hear comes
not constantly, Carol. He's made offensive comments about Esther McVeigh and a couple of, but it's not like it's his only line of attack.
Well, I just say on the idea that the Labour MPs are not united around him. That's actually not true. Ben Bradshaw, he spoke to Sky. He's hardly, you know, he's been critical of Corbyn in the past. He spoke to Sky News the other day, and he was saying actually the entire party is united around the idea that...
Hang on, Rachel. You cannot get a sensible position from Jeremy Corbyn on the crucial position of Brexit. Exactly. Now, you say he should lead...
That's not
hang
relevant.
on, Rachel, no, hang on, let me make my point, please. You say he should lead the caretaker government. The most recent opinion poll showed him as the most unpopular leader of the opposition since records began, and that began in 1978. But his position is, as Prime Minister, he will go and negotiate a new deal, then he'll bring it back and he'll call a referendum. And which way will he campaign? He won't tell us. Yes. He won't tell us on the biggest constitutional issue facing this country since the war. You can't have a man like that because he's showing no leadership. In fact, he's abandoned leadership on this issue.
You're all missing the point. It doesn't matter who it is.
Well, why are we discussing it then?
Ultimately, there is a majority in Parliament against no deal. The only opportunity the country has had to give any sort of say on no deal, the majority voted for parties who ruled it out in their manifestos. So it is the responsibility of a Parliament that opposes no deal to stop a no deal. And the only options remaining are either the deal or we stay in the EU. Now, if they can't decide between them, we need a referendum. That is the only way forward. So who leads that? Honestly, don't care.
What we also need, Femi, is an election, and the Labour Party have run scared from us. No, can I just say this? The Labour Party have run scared from having an election. Why? Because they know they lose. Because not only are they losing, they've lost the polls say they're going to lose 21 to 23 seats in the Northern Heartlands, and also your party membership is plummeting, Rachel. It's plummeting. It's gone down 14% in the last 18 months.
Can I just point out respectfully? I mean, none of you wants a caretaker government. That's not what you support.
Because it's a Remainer government.
It's not your dog and it's not your fight. So obviously I understand the urge to basically have a free kick at Corbyn, but it's basically irrelevant what you think. What matters is what the opposition in Parliament thinks. And the idea that the leader of the opposition should not lead the emergency government is just ludicrous.
On that very point, let's hear what Joe Swinson has to say.
Jeremy Corbyn is not going into number 10 on the basis of Liberal Democrat votes. And in terms of a government of national unity, it's just not a runner when you look at the arithmetic. You know, one of the first rules of politics is being able to count and count votes. And whether it is the 21 rebel Conservatives, whether it's the members of Change UK, whether it is former MPs who were in the Labour Party, who left the Labour Party, not least because of Jeremy Corbyn's position on anti-Semitism, he simply doesn't have the numbers.
He simply just doesn't have the numbers, Rachel, and that's a fact.
I mean, I'm not a mathematician, but Jo Swinson is the numbers. You know, for her to say he doesn't have the numbers is ludicrous when she herself is the numbers.
She doesn't
and if she believes that no deal is an absolute catastrophe, if she believes that she has an utmost responsibility to stop no deal, then she needs to do whatever it takes. And at the moment, that means supporting Jeremy Corbyn. And let's bear in mind, what's this emergency government going to do? It's going to extend Article 50 and then call a general election. If the people supporting that government do not want it to have a mandate for anything else, then they do not need to give it a mandate for anything else.
Ben Bradshaw recently made that point.
Jeremy Corbyn, as a temporary Prime Minister, given we'd be a minority as well, would not have the power to do things that perhaps one or two people might be worried he might. It would be simply to do the job of bringing some calm to our country and steering us through to another referendum, which is what I think a majority of parliamentarians now think is inevitable.
And as I just said, another referendum is the only way forward. Now, you talked about a general election. The reason why you can't have that as an option is because, well, what happened last time? As I just explained, the majority voted for parties who ruled out no deal, yet a majority of seats went to parties that were in favour of no deal. So if that were to happen again, if we use a general election as a second referendum, but it delivers the exact opposite of what the majority want, that would be a democratic travesty.
My dear chap, you are quoting the results of the last election. It was also that the majority of parties who got the most, over 80%, were those who said that Brexit must be delivered in one shape or form. So if you want to quote manifesto promises, I'll bring that one back to you and we'll be interested in your response. And just a quick one for you. Look, I think the fact, Jo Swinson must support, that to me, Rachel, smacks almost of desperation. If she doesn't rate him, if she doesn't back him, if she does, then so be it. She has to be respected in that view. That's what she says.
It's just common sense that the leader of the opposition should be asked to lead a caretaker government. I'm not interested in, whatever you think about Corbyn, whatever criticisms you have, you can still have them. But the idea that the leader of the opposition should not lead that, it's just absurd.
I mean, in the most recent two opinion polls, the Labour Party isn't even in second place. The leader of the opposition is trailing in third. You keep saying that. It's because there's no respect for him. This is a politician.
He is the leader of the opposition. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules.
Yes, but I'm sorry. If you genuinely want to stop this no-deal Brexit, you should agree to a proper heavyweight being head of that caretaker government. Would be somebody like Ken Clarke, who probably the Liberal Democrats could unite around, the Tory rebels could unite around. Well, he's got better chance of becoming a caretaker Prime Minister than Corbyn, because Corbyn is seen, I'm afraid, as a joke figure, particularly because of his stance on Brexit.
And how would a unity government be representative of the people of this country when, in fact, it isn't a unity government? It would be a Remainer government.
So specifically, this is why I think it should be a caretaker emergency government. That's why I think its only job should be to extend Article 50 and declare a general election. I don't think that you can have a government...
But Leavers don't want that.
I don't think which is why they should immediately declare a general election.
But Leavers don't want that.